Vedic astrology, when we want to analyze the fortune, we are opening the chart and we see 9th house and the 9th lord. But when we are going through charts like of the Anny Duperey, which has the 9th lord, Jupiter, in the 4th house, and with the moon, very strong, very nice planets, you wouldn't suspect that she lost both of her parents due to the accidents at age 8. So such charts are good trigger for research what is really going on. So we will go through 5 charts and we will find another planet which is modifying the 9th lord, and then how to unify those both views. Is it the 9th lord or maybe the other, which is the dispositor, which we'll be showing now. So dispositor is reflecting the fortune in much better way. But how and why? So let's go through these charts. This is the chart, and the person is a successful actress and a photographer, and she got, because her parents were also photographers, so she got this blessings as the ascendant lord in the 4th house, usually showing that the parents are giving a lot of, we could call it cultural privilege, and here the 9th lord is also in the 4th house, so definitely it's there. But look at the dispositor. We have here the Venus, because it's in Libra, and that Venus is in 11th. Exact yoga for accidents in the Badaka. So for Cancer, 11th house is Badaka, which is attracting things like accidents because they are happening, we could call it unpredictable. It's hard to understand the logical consequence. If I would ask you which planet is describing the situation better, is it Jupiter and Moon in the 4th or that Venus in 11th? 11th by itself is this ups and downs house with those Venus afflicted by Mars and Rahu. You would definitely say it's Venus. So this is one situation here. But if we will go through her life, then in those dashas of Moon and Jupiter, she got a lot of recognition. So the primary rule is that the dasha is most important. Whatever the dasha will show, that whole dynamic, that whole mechanism of these planets will follow whatever the dasha is showing. So because we have here the mixed situation related to the 9th house, we have very positive Moon and Jupiter. That 4th house is here very important because here we have this Arudha Lagna, the Jata Graha, and when Arudha Lagna is with Moon and Jupiter, you are famous. When Arudha Lagna is related to Venus, Mercury, you are working in entertainment sector. Venus is loading and aspecting, so she is an actress. And Ascendant Lord related to Arudha Lagna, this is another fame yoga. So if you have Ascendant Lord in the 4th, this is automatically doing that whole thing. But the dispositor is that Venus with Mars and Rahu. We could say 9th lord, so the fortune is dependent on the 4th house. So now the question is, how is your 4th house? And in analysis of the 4th house, the important factor would be the 4th lord. Let's go now to the Trump. This is also quite interesting thing, because here we have the ascendant lord. I mean, the 9th lord is Mars in the ascendant. So your name, your reputation, when you are born, you are like born into the fortune, we could say. And what kind of fortune? 9th lord is showing the father. So his father was already quite successful property developer. His fortune is related to the properties. He's using the name for the increase the fortune. You can see that. So the Mars is there. But now what he is doing with that Mars? Because he is born into that, he is continuing from the father that line. We can see this Mars is also in the 4th from the sun. So this is his wealth. But what he is doing with that? Ascendant Lord in the 10th, in the directional strength, the sun with Rahu, with Arudha Lagna. Arudha Lagna with the sun, you are working in the government sector. So we can see sun is showing how it is continuing, how it is going farther. And because it's in the 10th house, it's a Kendra, it's very stable. With Sun and Rahu, Jupiter is important. Jupiter is in the 2nd house. So it's also stabilizing. We have 2 benefics which are doing Kartari on the ascendant. So this is also stabilizing the whole thing. So he's going through ups and downs, but he's still there on that wave of the fortune. We will see another chart which has a different story. We have Lyra João, probably butchered his name, and 4th Lord, 9th Lord, the same situation. And also he is earning from the property or from the land. Here in that situation, we have a sun and moon in the 11th. So now the dispositor of that Mars is in the 11th house. 11, this is the crossroads of Jupiter and Rahu. So you may go Rahu, you may go Jupiter. Where are you going? So 11th house can give you a fall. We will see another chart with dispositor in 11th. So although he lived up till 19, he had a scandal related to Panama Papers. And Sun and Moon, we can also see here the Jupiter, and Jupiter is in the 12th. This is not the best. Strong benefic in Dushtana, and this Jupiter is very important for this chart. He's like giving, we could say, the support to Venus, to that Sun, to the nodes. So a lot of things are hanging on that Jupiter. And because the Jupiter is in the 12th, and also in the Navamsha, that Jupiter is going down by this Mars Nicha. And this was quite problematic. But still, he lived up to the 90, and we have to appreciate that he got a lot of fortune because of that Mars. But this dispositor is Sun again, so into the politics. And the 11th house here is much less stable than in the Trump's chart. So this is a much stronger situation because police was after him, and it was ended not so well for him. And again, we have here in the 9th Lord, but in the 2nd house. But interestingly, dispositor is that same Sun. So again, he was into the administration, to politics, and he also started in the line of property. So that Mars and Ketu are there influencing the 9th Lord. How it is now differing from the 9th Lord in Ascendant? Here, he entered into the influential position through the family, and he was also divorced then and was rejected, or he was like thrown out from the company, from the that whole fortune. And then he got, of course, a lot of money, and he tried to build something else. But then there was also a criminal investigation related to, I think, taxes, and it ended very badly for him. We can also see this Mars, Ketu, and Jupiter are in 4th from the Sun. So this is showing that this is materializing as a wealth, in the form of wealth. And this dispositor is again in the 11th. So we can see that the 11 can, if you are too greedy, if you are crossing the Jupiter demarcation point, you are going into the Rahu, into this unrestricted consumption, then the 11th house may punish you. And this is basically how it happened. We have another chart here of Vito Russo, very important example, fighting for the rights of LGBT. He was actively in the human rights and the politics. He was publishing zines, he was doing movies, and he was an author. And also he died because of the disease. So here we see 9th Lord is in Jupiter in the 3rd house. So this is about the writing. So 9th house we could understand as what is the game changer in your life. This word, game changer, or what would be the highlight? What are the highlights? Because there will be some points in which your life will go up or down. So depending if it's benefics or debilitated planets related to the 9th house, this is how it will manifest. So you should be quite careful about things related to your 9th Lord. Because this is like a domino things. If you have malefics, it is going down. But if it's benefics, like a reverse domino. So you are standing one domino piece up, and it will improve your whole life. So therefore, in texts like Sharaval, it says that you should always start the analysis of the chart through the 9th house, because this is like contamination or blessings of your main karma source from the past life. Everything is going through that 9th house, and then it's spreading to all the houses. So here we have 9th Lord, Jupiter is in the 3rd. So the Marana Karakasana could give us some indications, but is not the Mercury much better showing up what was happening in his life? Because Mercury is in a Cancer, so this is for publishing, writing about the psychology, about the rights, with the Saturn in Cancer. Saturn in Cancer in Ascendant is politics. So he is involved in the LGBT rights, for the equal rights, for the equality. Saturn is also very much for that. And the negative part is also the 8th Lord of Disease. Saturn is with that Mercury, and the Saturn is also aspecting the Jupiter. So we see again that the dispositor is showing what you are doing with the fortune, or how the fortune is going. So we are slowly going to the answer of this video. Why the dispositor we are taking? Because it is showing how the fortune develops later. It's like a dynamic. And it may be your choice what you are doing with that, especially if it's related to Ascendant, like in the Trump's chart. So he got this, it was like New York Times was saying in 1980, I think $400 million inheritance. So what you are doing with that, you are getting that sun intent. You are going into politics, into the power. And here he is going into that Mercury and the Moon. He's into publishing, into understanding the mind, the culture, and fighting to change the political body because of that Saturn in Cancer. Now we have also the Mary Sue Hubbard. She was the wife of leader of Scientology. She was his third wife, and he was her first. You can see Jupiter exalted in the 7th. By the way, if you'd like me to analyze your chart, the career life, relationship, health, what are the main combinations in your chart, how to block the negative aspects and accentuate the positive one, you may consider booking the consultation. The link is in the description. 9th Lord is Mercury in the 5th. And also, this is a good example that you shouldn't always use the Vimshotri from the Moon, because in Venus, she got so many bad things, like she was legally persecuted, thrown out of the organization, put into jail. Like she was helping his spouse throughout the years. She was like for the security of organization. We can see that Mars was somewhat stronger here. The Aruda is in Scorpio. It may jump to the Taurus. There is this Parivartana here. Interesting. If you take Taurus, being loaded by the Moon, Moon is in the Mercurial sign, Mercury is in the Moon sign, Mercury and Moon are doing the Parivartana. And when that Sun started in the Kshema Dasha, so that is showing you should use the Kshema Dasha, because when Moon is in 6th, use the Kshema Dasha. When the Sun started, then she was put into the jail. In the Moon Antardasha, she was also in the jail, and she was thrown out from the organization. And we can see in the Dashamsa, Jupiter is with the Moon. Oh, I forgot the North and South charts, so sorry for that. You have to follow the East. Maybe that will be the occasion to learn into that. This is my default chart style, how I'm analyzing the charts. And here it was like really chased by the government, right? At Makaraka in the 6th, you are going against a big enemy. Sun in the 6th, you are going against. So when that Moon Sun started, her fortune, she is like put into the jail, and there's legal consequences, right? So we could see here very nicely how the 9th Lord in the 5th. So she was attracted to this. It was called diatrics or something like that. It's like type of psychotherapy from that organization. This is how she met the leader and how they get together. And she was involved in that in the first stage of her involvement in the organization. We can see this organization, 5th house, power, 6th house, there are followers. So she is dealing with all that. PR, the public relation, she's the security, that everything has to be in place, right? Even if we take the Aruda in Taurus, that Mars is in the Kendra to Aruda, so she is also playing with that Mars, that is her role there to protect. And but yes, the Moon at Makaraka, Parivartana, so the fortune is going to the 6th. So again, the end result is better shown by the dispositor of the 9th Lord. So one side of the true is the Ninth Lord itself. This is like the initial, we could say, container of that fortune fluid, but where it will go, because it will not stay in one place. Like here we see, especially if you have Parivartana, it will go to that 6th house. So if you have this bad house, be careful, especially in the dasha of these planets. Remember, the 9th house, 9th Lord, they may be triggers for good or bad fortune. So be very careful with whatever is showing the 9th Lord. Like in the Trump's chart, 9th Lord in the ascendant, how he is really protecting his name. Like we see that in the interview, he is super sensitive when someone is trying to blame him on something, because he subconsciously knows, because this is how the karma of the chart works. It spreads in both ways, in your external world, controlling the karma, but also it is working in your internal self, because they are connected, this micro-macro connection. So the Trump has to know that, yes, 9th Lord is in the ascendant. He is feeling that. So if I will be allowing others to smear my name, then my fortune may be blocked. So we may also act overreactive to things which are related to the 9th Lord, because we know, we maybe learned by the experience that, oh, when that was touched negatively, then the whole life went down. So now I have to really protect whatever the 9th Lord house is showing. Okay, guys, so that will wrap it up. And if you want to learn more about the 9th house, 9th Lord, then please consider watching this one.